Well, that wasn't very good, was it? Leeds United have dropped yet another result. 2-1 to Southampton at home. And I have to say, I can't say I'm particularly surprised. It's a pretty dreary morning out here where I live, and it's been improved in no way, shape, or form by the performance of that team right now. Um, we could talk about the match, we could talk about tactics, but it's the same thing we've seen play out time and time again. There's a blueprint to play against Leeds United, and I'm not talking about sitting in a low block. I'm talking about just push our wingers out wide where they're ineffective to make them take more time on the ball and isolate them, and then just create opportunities because Leeds fullbacks will bomb too far forward. And it's this is a pretty disappointing match and disappointing result. One thing that I do want to bring to everyone's attention is that over the last 6 matches, Leeds United form is third bottom. Third bottom. Rotherham have played better over their last 6 matches than Leeds United have. We have won 1, drawn 1, and lost 4, which is pretty abysmal. It's our worst run of the season. It's our worst run of form in the entire season. I've seen a lot of people reference the first month or so and saying that's why we're in the position where we're in right now. No, it's not. No, it's not. We're in the position we're in right now because we can't beat the likes of Blackburn. We can't beat the likes of Sunderland. We lose 4-0 to the likes of QPR. And then we lose a season finale match at home against a team who's now won the double on us this season. A team who has also been poor this season. I'm sorry, not the season, the last 6. Southampton haven't been good. They've dropped matches to teams like Cardiff and Stoke that they've been losing to teams like that. So, of course, how best to get them back on track than to play Leeds United? So let's get to some of your comments here in a second. Honestly, I'm crestfallen. I wanted to see a better response than that. What's funny is this number may not mean a lot to you all. But in Fahrenheit, it was about 56 degrees in Leeds today. I don't know what it felt like at the stadium, but looking around at the fans, looked like some people had their coats off. Some people were wearing light shirts or T-shirts or whatever. Daniel Farke was wearing his big, massive winter parka again, like he does all the time. And I can't think of something more visually representative than that to sum up Daniel Farke's tactics over the last 6 matches, doing the same thing regardless of what the conditions are, regardless of how we're being played. And what he does is when it's not going well and we're down, he just throws a bunch of attackers on and hopes that will do it. Once again, we were completely inept in the attacking third, passing the ball around without meaning. The best spells of the match I saw, as far as I was concerned, were earlier in the first half when we were getting the ball into the attacking players and they were quickly 1 or 2 touch playing the ball to an overlapping winger or an overlapping fullback. As soon as we got into this isolated 1v1 with either Somerville or Nanto or Jaden Anthony in the second half or whoever it was, just taking 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 touches into a group of 3 or 4 defenders without a lot of movement, without a lot of quickness off the ball, it was the same old match again. Lateral passing side to side to side and no one shooting on target. It got so bad that the Ellen Road folks, the fans at Ellen Road, were starting to shoot at any player that touched the ball no matter where they were. So yeah, it was pretty bad. Look, I know a lot of people are going to point to the points tally. They're going to say, well, we got 90 points. That's any other season. That's great. Well, ask yourself why 3 teams were able to have this historic point tally this season. And the gap between the top 4 and the rest of the crowd in this division was so incredibly vast. Ask yourself why that might be. The answer might be because the division's weaker. The teams at the top are better. And Ipswich, if you're asking yourself, well, why is it a big achievement for Ipswich? We almost had the same amount of points because Ipswich came from a league below, 2 consecutive promotions. They didn't have one of the most talented teams on paper like we did. And we are where we are. I'm like last week, I don't have a lot to say in terms of hope or offering what we're going to do here in the future or how I think we're going to play because I don't know. I don't know what Leeds team is going to turn up. The Leeds team that has played in the last 6 matches, maybe more, but definitely the last 6 matches, will lose a playoff game. We will lose against Norwich City if we play the way we've been playing. And I don't have a lot of confidence that Farke is going to change anything. So let's get to some of your comments here, because honestly, I'm not pleased. I'm not happy. Nigel said, afternoon, awful lackluster performance. Again, no chance in the playoffs. Forget it. I mean, if we play like that, you're right. If we play like that, you're right. And maybe we won't. Maybe we will turn it around. And you like to think that, okay, new season, nothing that comes before matters. That's what some people don't seem to understand. It's not good for the club to stay in this division, guys. It's not. It's not good for us financially. It's not good for the fan base. It's not good for the city. It's not good for anybody. It may be good for one or two people that like to see us win more of the matches that we play, but that'll become less and less likely the longer we stay in the championship. Pat said, heads dropped soon after halftime. We're going to need a bit more fight from the lads in the playoffs. Agreed. Peter said, devoid of ideas. Agreed. Yeah, Bailey, I agree here. I don't think he played that poorly, but he just doesn't offer enough, does he? Like he did score, and that's great, but we didn't win. It's not like we won 1-0, so the margin on that isn't that. For what you lose with Pirro on the pitch versus what you gain when he actually does score. Of course, he's been sitting on 12 goals for a while. He finally got his 13th today. So I tend to agree. I think we need to start with Mateo Joseph if Bamford's not fit, and that's the thing about Bamford. He's either playing really well, or he's playing really poorly, or he's not playing at all because he's injured. He's always you can always rely on him to get hurt. Here's the local boy. Piss off, Jay. Honestly. Bradley, I don't agree. I appreciate your membership, by the way. Could have used Pavetta in this side right now, honestly. And this is what Connor and I were talking about last week, is, when we're talking about players like Joffe or players that we, at the start of the season, we were groaning at having them in the side. I don't necessarily see us as needing them now to solve our problems, but I get what you're saying. I mean, I think we're just desperate for something different. But it's not like the players don't have ability to do this stuff. I think this is the way they're being instructed to play. Yeah, same, Brendan. 90 points. What a points tally. It's not like anybody else has done that this season. I totally agreed. We've been poor since the break. What's the surprise? Yeah. Honestly, I don't know what else to say about that. We've been. Pat's going to sum it up better than me. Same old predictable tactics. Uninspired going forward. We know teams double up on Somerville. Okay, but Pat, here's the thing. That's an easy thing to say. I agree with everything you're saying here, but here's one thing I want to interject. They don't double up on Somerville. Somerville takes 7-8 seconds every time he has the ball and runs into the defense. So if you've got a fullback here waiting for you and you're sort of running in at him, and then the center half comes up, right? And then the second center half or the midfielder comes down, they're not double teaming you. They're just closing the ball. When you have the ball for that long and you're not doing anything with it, you're going to get closed down. So it's not like everywhere he runs, he has 2 or 3 defenders on him. It's that he's taking 5, 6, 7 seconds on the ball every time he gets it. And then ultimately they close him down. That's what's happening. And look, I'm not scapegoating Somerville. Yeah, aside from Middlesbrough, he's not been very good down the home stretch, but this is a systemic problem. It's not just an individual problem, right? So ultimately, he's probably doing what he's been being asked to do. So the Farke Jack agree. It is. It is. Richard, I'm grasping at straws here because honestly, I'm really depressed about this. I am. I'm pretty upset. This is the second week in a row, and it's a different type of upset. I was outraged after the QPR match because to lose 4-0 to QPR is pretty unforgivable. But in your home finale, with the might of Ellen Road behind you, to come in and put that performance in, to be that listless, and to have the same ideas, to go with Pirro in the beginning, and yeah, I know he scored the goal, and that'll acquit him in the eyes of some people, but and then to throw on Joseph at halftime or just after halftime, and to bring on Gelhardt as if a guy who you don't trust all season with good reason. I'm not going to pretend that I rate him, but the point is to just say, okay, go ahead and save our bacon here at the end of this match. It's not fair to the player. Lars, thank you for your membership. We've lost points to all the relegated teams. We've lost points to all the bottom 7 except Plymouth. This is why we effed up. Yeah, simple. I mean, and in the last 6 matches of the season, again, one win, 1 draw, and 4 losses. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how you justify. I don't know how anybody can look at that run of games and say, "Oh yeah," and point to the say, "Oh, we have to look at the season in terms of look." Farke has done a good job overall this season. Great, and I think he has proven that he can get a group of players playing the way he wants them to play, get fitness levels up, and get everybody on side. In the beginning of the season, that was really important, and in the midpoint of the season, we went on a great run. However, in the final stretch, to go in your last 6 games against very winnable fixtures, and to put that series of performances together, and we've not been that decimated by injury. I mean, we haven't been that off it with injury. I mean, yeah, we've had illness. Everybody's hurt this time of the season. Every team is dealing with injuries. We've, by and large, had most of our best players available to us. We haven't gotten it done. Simple as that. Simple as that. Thanks for the comment, IPW. Noah says, I just don't get it. I'm not going to say no one wants it because I think just as a player you do, but it seems like no one gaff the tactics don't change. Oh, no one gives I get it. The tactics don't change, nor does the lineup be stubborn. Yeah, it's just kind of a mishmash of frustrated feelings, and I feel you there. There's about 1,000 of you in the building. Please like the video. I think Connor's going to be doing his own reaction today at some point. I'm sure he'll be on, so please tune in for that. I have to say the midfield possession today was better, but we still were wide open at the back. It kind of dusts out my theory my thought that part of the reason we were giving up so many big chances is because we didn't have as much control of the midfield. And I guess that is true. Southampton is a good possession team, so we weren't going to completely boss them. But the gap between the midfield and sometimes it felt like we were only playing two at the back because of how high up the fullbacks were pushed. And that's going to be fine if you're going to move quickly. But if you're just going to sag in the final third of the pitch, as soon as they get the ball into some space, we're going to be in trouble, right? And I think we were lucky. We were pretty fortunate that Southampton didn't put any more goal-scoring chances together than they did. Well, the thing is, Nick, it's not that they're terrified to shoot. It's that they don't have a lot of open windows to shoot. We play very, very narrow. So what happens is we kind of pass the ball around and all our players are sort of congested in one area, and then the ball will go out super wide to either like Nanto on the right or Anthony on the right or Somerville on the left, and then they'll have to kind of run into the only place they can go, which is towards the defenders. So that's why, I'm frustrated with Somerville, but I don't like, where else is he supposed to go? I think he could move it faster, like playing, but who knows? The ref is beyond poor, but here's the thing: the ref didn't make us break down our defending, and that's for me what it comes down to. I know you're not saying that. I am Def Sniper, but I think as bad as the refereeing has been, it's not why we lost today. It's not why we've lost. This is a good question. What should Farke change to win the playoffs? I think we need to press in our defensive half and then counter our attackers having space. Greg, I think that's not a bad tactic. I also think we need to press higher up the pitch when we're out of possession. I think that if we can disrupt teams and repossess the ball in their area as opposed to trying to build up from ours, I think in playing quickly, like whenever we played fast, that was one thing I did like in the opening 20 minutes is we did seem to play very quickly, and we created decent opportunities that didn't generate to shots on goal. But I think that's part of just a big problem for us. Right. Yep, Tim says what's on paper. That's the thing. And we can talk about how much better our players are and how our managers, gotten teams promoted twice. But at the end of the day, it's not, all about what's on paper. Ultimately, the performances have to translate, and you have to see the manager make changes that make sense. And so far, I think, I talked about what Farka can do well as a manager. I kind of already went over it. I think where he really struggles is in-game management and tactical adjustments. I think he's incredibly stubborn. I think he believes what he's doing is the right thing, and it's just a matter of the players doing it correctly. And at this point, I don't think that's true. Carl said 1 win in the last 6. Would never imagine it going this badly. Yeah, you'd think we would. I mean, honestly, if we win any one of those games, Sunderland, Blackburn, then it's kind of a different situation. I guess with Sunderland, it's only a 2-point difference, so we'd still be out of it. But I think this is a troll. Jack said to blame the fans. They didn't support the team enough. What's going on with the defense? Honestly, I don't know. I think it's pretty clear that Ethan Ampadu is a central midfielder. I know that we talked about that pairing of him and Rodon being really good, but it's not been very good over the last 6-7 weeks. And look, Joe Rodon's looked off it compared to how he looked early this season. And, I think that there are ways you can get at this team. And I don't think Farka's made sufficient changes or mixed it up enough in order to cause teams to second guess their approach against us. So it's not a matter of individual defensive performances. Like, it's not like a Diego Llorente situation last season where it was just a lot of individual errors were costing us goals. And not just Diego, but there was Liam Cooper, Robin Koch. It was like all over the defensive shape. No matter who was in, it was just a blunderbuss. That hasn't been the case this season, but it's pretty clear that you can get at this team by stretching the center backs and creating gaps in between them. And also the gap in between the midfield and the defense is pretty large and the fullbacks being really high up the pitch, they don't really have the recovery now. So I guess that's my interpretation of what's going on with the defense. I'm not sure how you easily rectify it. It looks like systematically they're designed to play that way. So I'm not really sure how you reduce the effects of that, Where was the booing? I mean, I'm not sure what the question was. Cork in Ireland says, or Cork, Ireland, the city itself says, where was our midfield? Why is our first instinct to go lateral or back? It's not an instinct. I think it's the way they're told to play. Honestly, it seems to be like these guys didn't all become non-progressive midfielders overnight. Like, yeah, Gruev's not a progressive midfielder, but Kamara, in terms of progressive passing, you can look throughout his career, he has provided it, right? And Archie Gray, when he was playing in the midfield, we know that he's a little bit more progressive. It's not a coincidence that, and when Ampadu was playing in defensive midfield, we also passed laterally. We had these same complaints in the beginning of the season. This is the way the team is designed to play. I think Farka believes if you control possession most of the match, you're going to get a couple of chances, and you should put those chances away. Problem is, we're not doing that. And I don't necessarily think that it's an individual players thing. I think this is the system. Robert says, I just don't want to watch them anymore. I feel like we've been relegated. Robert, I'm going to push back a little bit against that. I know what you're saying. You're talking about how you feel, not what you think. And I totally get that. But I don't know. If we play like this, we're not going up. That's for sure. But, I have no answer to that, honestly. We just have to be better. Bradley points out we move the ball so slow, so easy to play against. Bradley, thanks for your membership as well. Yeah. Guys, I think that's going to be it for me. We're coming up on just about 20 minutes. Honestly, I just don't have a lot to say. This was poor. It was poor. I'm going to get to a couple member comments here. British Gaming says, we give them too much room on the ball. Wonder how we managed to get 90 points when you see them like this. Well, this team, playing as it is the last 6 matches, wouldn't have managed 90 points. Over the last 6 matches, again, 1 win, 1 draw, 4 losses. That's not a 90-point team. That's whatever this is. It's not, it's not good enough. Anyway, I'm very depressed about this. I need to figure out something to get myself out of this headspace. Listen, I hope you all managed to have a decent weekend. I'm just saying that it gets harder to get out of this division. For those saying it's a 2-year plan, and I know we've talked about that, but it's not impossible to get out of the division, obviously, but the parachute payments get less and less. The players you had left over from the Premier League days are more likely to leave. And It's not so much that we're losing. It's the way we're losing. We just look bad. We look listless. We look lifeless. There's no ideas. And that's why I'm just not very hopeful. I'm going to write my attitude. And when it comes to the playoffs, I'm going to be full bore supporting this team. But for now, today, I'm not happy. Not happy. Guys, thank you for liking the video. Thanks for tuning in. Please subscribe to the channel if you've not already. And I suppose we will see you later. Thanks so much for tuning in. Sorry if this is a little bit down, but also look at that disgusting label coming off from the bottom of my chair. There's no zipper to tuck it into. My OCD has now been triggered. All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll talk to you soon.